primary interests are in regards to modern history. And so I was very fascinated by these because this is about the spread of Islam, but this is from like the last century. And so I was wondering what kinds of, significant changes had happened, over the course of like, the lifetimes of people who are still alive today. Upon like doing some initial research about Amadou Bamba, I had heard that he was, an anti-colonial icon. But I found that he wasn't necessarily an active anti-colonial icon in much of the same way that we think about like, Gandhi or people like that. He more so proliferated ideas that helped people to get comfortable with the idea of independence from French rule and kind of helped them get the sense that they were a cohesive people that could form a nation. I guess what Sheikh Bamba represents to me now is, one, the diversity of how Islam can be conceived, how it can be practiced, but also how independence movements can be formed and how cultural and national identities can be formed. They don't necessarily need to be formed through violence or through these really dramatic kind of political movements, but can instead be formed through, simple belief, simple devotion to a common ideal, whether that's something very abstract or something very tangible. I guess what people and other students like me visiting the Fowler Museum could learn from, the doors and from Sheikh Bamba is, like I said earlier, the diversity of Islam, how it's not a monolith, how it means many things to many people. But also, I think it can teach us how people's religious devotion and their morals can very much seep into every element of their life. Like, these doors are from a restaurant. You wouldn't necessarily expect to, see a Sufi saint on the doors of like, I don't know, when you walk into like a Jack in the Box. But, that kind of piety permeates a lot of elements of Senegalese culture. And I think that shows that there doesn't necessarily need to be a divide between these ideas of like, sacred and secular that we so often hold.